Okay, looking at Forex Factory, no, there's none. So the trade balance on a positive note, unemployment rate was positive, employment change was on a negative point of view. So mixed bags of reports, pretty good. And now let's have a look at dollar index. Hey, happened right there. Say, sorry guys, let me open another one. Crashed on me. Loading, so just bear with me. Okay, here we go. Dollar index. Interesting, so it dropped and came back up. Stabilization after 2 days of momentum, actually 3 stabilization. So looking at the bottom market analysis point of view, bullish and odds and probability. The dollar can continue to go further is highly probable. Okay, it's there. From there to there. So a clear breakout from that point of view. Right. Okay, right there and right there. So still lower lows from this perspective. Price to beat will be at this price. 80.68. Another approximately 40 pretty much cents to the upside, or 0.4%. Then next one will be that 81.45. So look at the price action. The bulls are in control. Odds and probability they will push it up next week is highly probable. Monthly, yeah, monthly is not looking good in terms of the majors. Then it might be still a good opportunity for us. Okay, now in the monthly, if it finishes where the price to be at 81.45, then continuation, it can continue all the way to 84. So in other words, March we have to be aware. So my personal opinion, I'll be shorting pretty much the markets. I think for March, that will be the plan pretty much for March. But we might see further downturn than in the marketplace. 14, they tested the 1420. So let's look at the Dow. Oops, it's crude oil. Yeah, it's weird, even crude oil. Yeah, it's probably coming back up. Came back up, and this is why the petrol also went up to RN, but they should drop pretty shortly too. It's kind of weird. Okay, let's see, look at gold quickly as well. It's just hovering, but Aussie actually is weaker. Let's go, wow. Alright, let's look at the index. Okay, that's a nice one. Definitely shorting time for moi. 1421, but created a new high as of today, 14,021.81. Let's see on a bigger time frame. Did it beat this price? 1421.95. What is the price of this one? 1421.81. No, by 0.14. Wow. Yeah, that's unbelievable. So pretty close in terms of the monthly. So they tested that. Next one, 14,198. That would be interesting. I wanted that 14, if it was 1422, then 14,198 will come. But looking at this hanging man right there, much better tool. If we're gonna say confirmation next week, bingo. Then from the high to the low, you can look into this. We're gonna see here back to 13.6. So I need a proper confirmation, but I think the confirmation has been filled in with that lower low, the long tail, stabilization, correction, continuation. But if it does want to correct, then the caveat for it, continue 14,198 and beyond. Right, so that's pretty cool. And then from here, yeah, part of that lower lows, we have a new higher high though. But buyers didn't want to go through and pursue above that. Sellers are pushing the price down. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. So indecision, either to the upside or to the downside, but we need that confirmation as of pretty much next week. In terms of trading wise, so low risk, high probability, 1421.85 will be the stop loss to short this. Then if breaks to 1421, then go back in to go long. All right. Any questions in regards to that?
No questions.
Okay. Let me have a quick look on. Maybe you can get a better one. I feel.
Morning. Oh, good evening, whatever.
Good afternoon. Good morning in your end. Let me have a look on that. Yeah, totally different story with the S&P. S&P is very strong. After that, the bulls are in control. So we have a different viewpoint in terms of the SPY. But still, it's also a hangman, but a bullish hangman. So there's nothing quite indicating, as far as I'm concerned, they can continue to go further, similar to this lot right here. Bulls. So cannot find it yet. We need definitely proper confirmation next week. It becomes pretty much bearish at the midweek and so forth, then we'll be able to see it on the daily chart. Then a much better price of selling. So what we need is something like this, and in order for it to correct itself. But other than that, it's running out of steam. We need a nice push, but definitely new higher highs, higher lows, and they're gonna go through all the way to that 1557 as well. Monthly is also very strong. So next one is the high of that at 1526. That's the next price to beat. That's not far off. And then you're gonna see this high right here, but you also have that high at 1554, 1566, and the last one is the high 1586 to be exact. And that was October of 2007. And when that happens, then to create new highs, and then we'll drop, but definitely higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. Right. Let's look at what happened as well overseas. And S&P is 0.5, Nasdaq is much stronger, 0.93. Europe, look at that, Euro 50, 1.25, the FTSE a half, DAX is 0.81, and then I know in Asia, I think, the Nikkei dropped almost close to 2%, but the ASX was very, very strong. Alright, so what do you have in the next one? Alright, in terms of scoping the market, pretty much already know which one we do have. Okay, start off first with the dollar Swiss and current trades that we still have. Alright, part of the bullish bar currently just formed a stabilization. Our price is above the 38.2. Gonna hold this trade, breaking out as well on the secondary short-term time frame. Odds and probability to fill in the blanks around these levels. Highly probable, especially now with the dollar index basically pushed up through the upside a little bit. In medium term on the weekly, it's actually very bullish. So gonna hold that position, and the weekly. Now this is a data floor right here. This is a big bearish bar. So now we have a nice V formation. The bars are awesome. So it's a good powerful bar. Yes, anything can happen. You can also lead something like this before it can go. But in terms of the levels of demand, here's a really good area of demand, which they pushed it pretty much to the downside last week, now being supported back up. So overall, from this perspective, we're still pretty much in an uptrend. And if this primary downtrend will break, then the price can go beyond, next to the high one, about that 95, and go to 98 even, and also back to parity, probably even, maybe, all depends. Okay, so decide to leave that trade. Weekly, there is nothing because of the dollar floor right here, but even the stochastics, see we have a diversion in the stochastics. The oscillators and odds and probability that will continue is highly probable. Daily chart, we have nothing either. With some of the accounts, actually chose to buy more yesterday, and then for this one I decided to go with the dollar CAD, so that's why I didn't buy more on that one. But it's the same. M3, we have going to have an M2 or M3 to go long. Basically, it's not too bad of a price because it's not that far from the 8 or the 10, so I reckon just one more. I mean, that momentum, odds and probability will continue is highly probable. Alright, that's a dollar Swiss. Look at the dollar CAD. Dollar CAD worked out well. And then on the monthly type, so last week, this is also a bearish bar. Came back up, push it pretty much to the upside right there. Higher highs, higher lows now. Next one will be higher high. So can it go beyond past this? Absolutely. So I just put a limit through there to sell one position, and the rest will just basically be holding it off. But at the end of the day, later on today too, see much more powerful. I'll be adding more positions as well. So here's a pretty strong, nice momentum buyers right there. M2, out of that M2 formation yesterday, continuation, and with an uptrend. Hence is why I chose this actually rather than the euro yen with this account, is because of the probability. Even though euro yen is a high probability, the euro yen was on an uptrend. This one is on an uptrend on M2, so yeah, much bigger chance of actually winning, even though both of them are pretty good. Alright, M3, clear breakout on the 8 and the 10. Then Sunday we'll have probably another opportunity to go back in. But based on the weekly, we can see here from last week is the perfect entry point. So it's almost the same price, and hence it's still pretty much a continuation to the uptrend. So we are now within the trend, and longer term is also pretty good on that. Alright, dollar CAD. Let's look at the euro yen. Alright, euro yen had a good probability as well of dropping, and hence actually took, as far as I'm concerned, T1 124.80. 124.80 is done, and then T2, which is a 123.71. The low of this one's 123.44. So euro yen based on M2 is closed, and with a nice trade. There is a little bit room in order for this to head back around probably this level of demand too, 122. Another close to 200 pips pretty much to the downside, but once this one gets filled, then and there's a nice clear indication, I will be going back into the long side. Alright, so it's a good trade, and if you enter in that one, congrats. So on the weekly is showing a nice basically engulfing pattern right there, right? So the odds and probability this will get filled, even to if this one will break. Okay, can readjust that later on, but with proper readjustments, then 122.30. So that is here is a good demand anyway. Here's a good demand level all the way there. So you can just be aware, and if we just maximize that, there's some room in order for this to fill out, and then boom, higher high, higher lows, higher highs. So after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to the bull side, stabilization 9, 10, 11, 12 weeks, 3 months. First time that basically did come back down. So mid-February I reckon still be very bearish, and then March, sometime during March it can reverse or whatnot, but very, very strong. Okay, so weekly bearish, daily bearish, and 2 still much more. So back into the breakthrough on the 62%, back to the 100%, 121.17, all the way here to 120. Then we can basically readjust that. If we're going to look into that perspective, 123.65 actually, 123.44. So you did touch the first level of retracement, second, third, 121.14, which is also pretty strong actually. And there's more room in order for that to drop. M3, nice still from what we've discussed yesterday. A lot of room in order for this to drop. Okay, in terms of perhaps, re-entering, you might have a little bit of, if it chooses to correct itself a little bit on a shorter time frame, and then we can readjust and or enter at a better price. So 3 in a row, come back a little bit before it can come back down. But Sunday, there's a below day at 10, and then there's that entry point to go. Alright, Euro Yen basic close from yesterday, but there's also a potential once again for 15. So miners are just basically putting weight for small correction to re-enter. Then we had the dollar Swiss, basically holding on that, dollar CAD, holding on that as well. Right, from yesterday, what else do we have? Oh, Aussie dollar. Let's look up what happened in Aussie dollar based on M2. Yeah, performed from yesterday. We're looking at it was about approximately 123.43, and then it dropped a little bit, 123.21. So 10 pips, not bad. But in terms of weekly, it's pretty good as well as a stabilization point of view, but it's on a downtrend. Good level of demand around here, which it tested, hence that's why this is also pretty much on a good trade to head back to about that 125. 125. What's the next one? Oh, yeah. 125. So nothing hold like that. Okay, it's just filling the blanks. So, my perspective, technically speaking, hopping out based on that M2 because didn't want to perform. Still pretty much on the downtrend. Alright, let's move to the next one. Oh, yeah, the Pound Swiss. Pound Swiss was an awesome trade as well. Look at that. So we have a bullish engulfing. Odds and probability this will go through the roof back to 147 is highly probable. Okay, close some positions just to get some profits. It was nice V formation, change of trend. It was a good M2 as well. After break at 142.75, but entered pretty much here based on M1 at 142. 142.30. Okay, 142.30. It's almost getting there. Target point of 146.91. 146.91. So on the level of supply. Yeah, not long to go. So dollar Swiss is hold. Not the Swiss, the Pound Swiss. Pound Swiss is on hold. Okay. M2 nada. Okay, then so basically still continuation. Trades like this is what I love after a breakout on a void area and clear. Your odds and probability of winning is highly probable, especially if the low doesn't want to go through. It is a risk, but in terms of the risk, it's small. Okay, and an M3. We have an M3 in actual fact as well right now in about half an hour's time. Okay, let's see, M3. Alrighty, nice. Okay, Okay, as of February the 6th, basically said Aussie USD is still short. Now it came back up. That's the 6th, the 7th, and now from here, so it went all the way 103.58 and then tanked. It's weird how the market is also pretty strong, so they're saying something, but in actual fact, it's just a stabilization point of view. Looking at the weekly chart, very weak, right? I believe there's more room in order for this to head back down south. We have those areas of demand right here, 101.47 and 102, so around approximately about 60 odd something pips as a form of a range from that level to that level. Oh, what happened there? Just a close. Right. No. Bam. So 102, 101.50. So there's a the 50 odd something pip range between the two. So the next one is this one actually. So we're in these levels at the moment. Odds and probability. The bars is still pretty strong. That this is going to drop is highly probable. But we can't ignore as well the spacing between the 8 and 10 right there. Right, on the daily chart perspective, none, but they may continue to come back up just a little bit as a form of correction before a continuation, but I'm still bearish with that. So Aussie USD is still pretty much hold. Next one is the Kiwi. Kiwi. Weekly, very bearish. We see here there's this area that it can fill. Higher highs, higher lows. If we're talking here about just supply and demand alone, then odds and probability they will push it back up is highly probable. Back to 84.22, about 80 pips to the upside until they make a decision either to go push it to the upside to the downside. Plan B, if it breaks to this primary uptrend and weekly chart, then this is going to fail all the way down at 82.81. That's the caveat for the daily chart. See how it shows very nicely on this level. We have much of gravestone doji holding that level, and they're going to fill it up pretty much around this point. So different story with the Kiwi, hence as well Aussie against the Kiwi didn't want to perform any longer because they might just be a minor correction before it might drop further. So yeah, this is more bullish than the Aussie itself. Two, there's nothing, but there might be a possible morning star pretty much in the next bar right there. And three, though, touch the 8 of the 10, and we're showing a form of a sell signal. But if it chooses to reverse as a form of correction by next week, then like a 40 pip to the upside, I'm going to short it again. So that is it in terms of that, but we can't ignore it. We are in an uptrend and in a level of demand. So in terms of M3, not a good idea. Right, that is it in terms of all my notes. Okay, let's look at the crumbs. I call it the crumbs. Okay, they have high probabilities, and we'll see what the rest will do as well. Euro pound, well, it's a euro pound tanking. Look at that, from 87, 84, 63. I believe we also spoke about this But since it was bullish, it was hovering around this level first before it actually dropped. So we look at it, this C here, and then pound. So there's a lot of weakness, odds and probability 84, another 63 pips to the downside is highly probable. Okay. In terms of that, breaking out the 68.2, 84, next one. 67, 67. Nope, that's not it. Then the next one will be this. Breaking out 38.2, next 50. Small demand, bigger areas of demand around this point. So it's pretty much a free fall, to be honest, because there's nothing really supporting it. There's 1, 2, 3 that supports it. The reason this one break, because this one's pretty weak. This is also pretty much pretty weak. Here's much stronger. Here's not too bad. Here's not too bad either, because you have all these levels. Go through a bigger time frame, just make it clear and see it. So if we see here, there's a few touches around there, so 50% is a very significant one. Breaking out on that, and this is already a really strong demand level. Breaking out, this is the next one, the 50 is a very significant demand as well. So like I said, maybe 84, and then it may rebound. That's it all depends on what it wants to do, but very steep, and the steepness based on law of angles is also going to be the same to create a higher low and then down, create a higher high. And as far as we're concerned, stabilization, a bigger time frame before continuation to the upside. So anything can occur, on the bigger time frame too. Anyway, you can see there. Try to break it, but doesn't want to. So sales are saying go back into your box. You're not ready yet. Okay, so when this one goes back to 90, so they fill in this gap, and they have to fill in the gap to the downside as well before they choose to come back up. Alright, that's the Euro pound. Look at Euro yen. Let's look at pound yen. Did we look at pound yen? I don't think we did. Okay, pound yen is a totally different ball game. See, it came back up, filled in on that trend. Okay, I can make also another readjustment from there. Actually, we'll leave that alone. And then just put from here to there. That's the other adjustments. So we have two different levels. 1, 2, primary in terms of the daily. Weekly. See, in the weekly we have dojis. Dojis after dojis. In actual fact, it's not a doji. This is a big bullish bar. Now we have a doji. And there's breaking out through there. Nothing indicating where it should be. We're in a equilibrium area, pretty much from a demand and supply. Major price is about that 150. So there's nothing supporting it or resisting it. There is here. There's two ones right there. Actually, let me add those because they're also important. 1 and 2. But the price actually did break. See? And now they're pushing it back to the downside. So we're in a good area of supply as well. Can it come back down a little bit? Yes, but it's still very strong, very bullish. Won't touch it. As far as I'm concerned, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. But because of this long tail, they will retest these areas as well before clear indication to the upside. Risk is 148.07. So in terms of loss, that's close about 160 odd something pips. But it went all the way to 145, so 140. It's pretty much like a one-to-one relationship. So yeah, there's a probability it can come back down, but it's in an uptrend, the lowest reasonable level of supply. Okay, daily M2, there is no M2, clear divergence. This one is also, the probability actually dropping is also high. Weekly, yes, there's a crossover, but doesn't mean anything, but it's still on the overbought. M3 touched basically both 8 and 10, but the price chose to be above the 8 or 10. Let's look on the weekly. Yeah, weekly has a lot of room to drop. 400 pips as well. Right, next, I think we didn't look at the dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss. Dollar Swiss. I love dollar Swiss in my head for. Okay, dollar yen. Dollar yen is nice in terms of stabilization point of view. You have now, we can see here that 93.70 was this high right there. I know they will test this about 95 area, but before they will do that, I believe this has to correct itself as well. So there's a probability that to have pretty much an M2 next week. Risk is, it's the high of this, 94.07. 130 pips to the upside to gain 200 pips pretty much to the downside. So not bad as well in terms of reward to risk ratio. You can see here nice and clear breakout on this trend. So I put it on readjustments, that's clear. But if I put it on this one, it's just sitting right there. So from here to here, breakout, but from this to this, the price is just sitting it right there. So, but after the tweezer pattern, lower lows, lower highs, and the tweezer odds and probability to go to here is highly probable. That's if they don't want to push it back up. So to make it safer, if it chooses to retrace a little bit, 93, get a much better price. And if it doesn't want to fail, they might be hovering around. We can see here, as long as the highs doesn't want to supersede the last high, then bam. So I'm going to keep an eye on this one. Dollar yen, I'm going to put it as white, just keep an eye. Okie dokie, that is it, I believe, karaoke. So that's one, M2, nothing, then we're going to wait on that, but even this fails as well here, goes to 200, 300 pips. On the weekly on M3, and just touching the 8 and the 10. Right, euro, let's see what the euro yen did. Failure, thunder, okay, back demand, 133. There's more room in order for it to fill in, and when it reaches 133, I'm also waiting for this. So basically we've been talking about that since the beginning of the week. 133, gonna be buy. We're gonna be buying around this level pretty much. Okay. Weekly chart. Nice, very bearish. 2 weeks to the upside, only took 1 week. So odds and probability for this to drop is highly, highly probable. M2, nothing, but there is more room for that to drop. Daily, nothing, almost getting to the oversold. M3, there is a signal right there, and there's a probability it may drop further. Weekly, yes, 133, 132.50. Okay, last but not least, I think pound against the dollar. So 157. No, on a bigger time frame, they're just hovering around. Clear breakout. Target point is here. I'm not gonna be fooled by this, but when this one comes up, actually there's a great opportunity for another re-entry to short on the pound. Ooh, okay, so this might just be a fake out. We're gonna see through there, and then a couple. This is gonna come back all the way down. If it comes back to 159, back to sell sign. So daily is showing a nice clear breakout, and I know there was an M2, but I'm not gonna play that game. Turns out this is still pretty much in a downtrend. Sometimes the market, is really good in deceiving people. Okay, so here we have a nice clear M2. There is probably another probability when it sees a stabilization or so forth, then bam. And we're gonna short. Okay, M3, 159, to fill in the blanks a little bit. Daily, breaking out the 8 of the 10. Yeah, one more. Euro Swiss. I think the Euro Swiss. I think Euro Swiss didn't perform either. Yeah, it's just correcting itself. Higher highs, higher lows. We see some stabilization back probably 121.70 and something. And back to the long side. For now, it's just going through, slowly dipping. And then there will be an opportunity as well to go long over there. M2, there's none. Weekly, there is nothing. Still more room. Daily, nothing. Still pretty much M2 after that entry. And weekly, no, finally, it's about to touch the 8 of the 10. That is it. No more. Any questions for me?
Oh,
No questions.
Awesome.
So
Alrighty.
you're adding to, hang on, Ryan, hang on. So you're adding to dollar Swiss, dollar CAD, and pound Swiss. Is that right?
Yes, sir. So pound Swiss, adding more based on M3 with the pound Swiss. Yeah, pound Swiss. There's an entry. So I was going to buy more on that. Dollar Swiss is basically hold. There is more room as well for this to come back up. Pretty bullish. I'm bullish as well with the dollar index. So going within the tide, good price. It's not too bad. So I'm gonna go back in there, and then yeah, those are the two ones. Dollar CAD, sorry, dollar CAD. Dollar CAD is more of a buying. Dollar CAD is strong. So this might basically trade pretty much. Dollar Swiss, dollar CAD, they're really good. Oh, pound Swiss, they're also good. Anything with the Swiss is good. And then, well, take that back because I don't know what the other currencies against the Swiss, but the dollar and the pound against the Swiss is good. Aussie USD holding, still shorting on that one, and then Euro Yen basically is closed, right? Euro Yen is closed from yesterday based on M2, but there is a more high probability that it can drop, but waiting for a small correction to enter. Let me open up too. Yeah. Pretty much that's it. Cool. All right. Any other questions?
No.
All right. You know what to do. You know what the plan. Go out there and execute. Like what you feel, please. Can I receive a confirmation, please, with your feel stuff before you go back to sea?
Not here.
So, confirmation, okay? Confirm.
Yeah, good go.
On the go. Beauty. JP?
Yeah, I'll be adding the cat now. Correct.
Confidence, man. Like last night, okay? Confidence. Believe in it, and then don't panic, okay? As long as you put the stop loss in there, that's all that matters. Right. And you know what to do, Angie. Come back to training.
I'm done trading. I'm doing trading. I've entered my position.
So, yeah, but come back to training. Come to the classes.
Yes. The daylight saving soon. It will be better time.
Every day is always a good time.
No, I'm always in transit. I'm always driving when you guys have the class.
All right, guys. You have a good one. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.